Hi guys, it's Anna. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. So first things first with Illuminae, I'd like to say that I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't give it a full 5 out of 5 stars for a couple reasons that I will get to in just a second. First though, I'd like to mention some strengths of this book. I feel like it's always good to start off with something strong about the book and then maybe say something that's a critique and then finish off with another strong point. So that is how I'm going to sandwich this video. So first things first, I want to mention what I feel like everyone mentions when they first talk about Illuminae, and that is the way it is told. I went into this knowing how it was going to be told, and at first I wasn't a huge fan of it just because it was a little bit jarring to me. I had never read something that is told in this format. If you are unaware of how Illuminae is presented, it is told through text files, email correspondence, and then we have surveillance logs, so those are a little bit more novel style. But all in all, I felt like it was a very odd reading experience at first that slowly morphed into a very enjoyable one. I listened to Illuminae on audiobook while also reading it, and I think that that really helped amp up my enjoyment levels of it. At first, I was very hesitant to read it because I wasn't really getting into the way it was told. And I was kind of on some pages getting confused as to what I should read first. Sometimes there are briefing notes at the top, and occasionally I would miss out on those. But I started listening to the audiobook for it while also reading this. I would listen and read at the same time, and that really helped out, and I actually ended up loving doing that. But then it got to the point where I started to be able to read it on my own because I was understanding and learning how to read the novel. So if you are not interested in a novel that has a little bit of a learning curve to it, just in the way it is told, this might not be the best fit for you. But if you are someone who is open to trying out new types of novels and new formats, I would highly recommend this. Whether or not you like sci-fi, I would recommend it. So one critique I had with Illuminae, every once in a while the book seemed to jump from like one point to another. Usually it explained how it got from there to there. Occasionally it didn't, and that's what I'm talking about. That's where it got a little jarring. It kind of felt like the plot dipped down a little bit and then they threw in a solution without really explaining it. I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough for you to get the point. I can't really say anything in particular because that might spoil the book. So that is about as much as I could say for like this set point. But basically every once in a while a plot point would come up where I thought it was a little too convenient and wasn't fleshed out. I feel like that's a good way of explaining it. Another thing that I loved about Illuminae though, and probably my most favorite thing, were the characters. At first I hated Ezra, but by the end of the novel I loved Ezra, and Katie was just fabulous throughout the entire thing. I don't know which author voiced Katie or did most of the writing for Katie. I haven't looked into that, but whichever one of them did an amazing job. Ezra's voice was really strong too, but I liked Katie's because she was just a badass, and I love that she breaks the stereotype that is often seen with badass women. Like typically when you see like a badass female hero, you see them being like bitchy or mean, and Katie could be a little mean or snarky at sometimes, but her heart was in the right place throughout the entire novel. Another thing that you see about Katie, kind of a minor detail, is that she is short. Typically, at least when I read novels, they're always tall. Like they're never mentioned to be anything less than average height, and so the fact that Katie is really short just really excited me, and I feel like that's just a very minor thing, but I really appreciated that because I cannot tell you when the last time I read about a short kick-ass female protagonist was, if I've ever done it. Like I feel like that's just a nice tiny little touch, no pun intended, that they added to Katie and her personality and her character, just that made her like a lot cooler. Another thing I really liked is that they didn't let the male save the female in this one. They had the male character was being saved by the female character, and I really loved that. And the character relationship between Ezra and Katie throughout the entire novel I just really loved in general. I tabbed a lot of different conversational topics between the two of them because I liked the way they talked to each other. It was an interesting dynamic. As someone who was in like a very serious relationship in high school and who is still in that relationship, it was interesting seeing characters having to work together and still having feelings for one another from high school, despite the fact that at the beginning of the novel they have technically broken up. You see them still work together and put each other first, and it was just overall, in my opinion, a pretty healthy relationship, and I liked that aspect of it. Also, the way that the book is told allowed really nice, sweet things to happen between the characters. You get to see more of their personalities based on the way that they type out things. It's really interesting seeing them communicate through text conversations, which typically I don't like in books, but it was very well done in this one. You also get to see a lot of personal moments between Ezra and Katie, like where they're just on their own. I know Katie has like diary entries, and I'm not sure if Ezra does or doesn't. I don't entirely remember, but you get to see Katie's personality through the way she says things and words things in her diary entries, and you also get to see that with Ezra through the way he speaks about Katie when she's not there, to his friends, and the way that he just kind of holds himself in general throughout the book. So overall, with that point, the characterization of the two main characters was great. I also liked the character of the AI, Aiden. I thought that he was super cool. Also, I just realized that Aiden has AI at the beginning. That's why he's named that. Also, I have a nephew named Aiden, and I'm never going to not be able to look at him without thinking about AIs. Anyway, so Aiden, the AI in this novel, was a character of his own. As it goes with all sci-fi novels, there's always the question of, is the AI becoming too sentient? Like, what is the difference between this AI and humanity? And this novel addressed that very well without making it the entire sole purpose of the plot line. Like, there is an entire plot line other than just Aiden and its sentience. There's a period of time at the end of the book in which I have tabbed actually, where Aiden is kind of like relating himself to Katie and is feeling more human, but because Aiden is also still an AI, he refers to cameras and other pieces of technology as being like similar to him, as like the we and the humans are the they. For example, on page 563, Aiden is talking about Katie doing a certain action in which I cannot say, but he has like a moment where he kind of personifies another piece of technology, which I found to be very interesting. This is talking about Katie. It says, "She does not look too badly hurt from what I can see. The camera on her console, bruised and battered in the far corner, is still functional." So I marked that because bruised and battered, technology cannot get bruised. I mean, I guess it could get battered, but when you think bruised and battered, you think humans. I liked the fact that Aiden is so in tune with technology still, because it is technology, but also because it is questioning whether or not it's kind of human. It is putting these human associated adjectives with technology. So that is another thing that I liked about the character of Aiden himself / itself. I thought it was really well done in the way that Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman kind of like made Aiden seem borderline human, even though he's an AI. The last thing that I'd like to mention isn't really a negative or a positive. It's just kind of a general comment of mine about the plot. The end really kind of confused me. The end of it kind of seemed like a setup for that, but the setup was just very sudden to me. Like, it seemed a little odd. I wish there had been a little bit more of a build-up. And maybe there was a build-up for it and I just missed it, but I don't generally remember any sort of build-up to this except for one mention at the very, very beginning of the novel where Ezra mentions something about a different character, and you don't hear about this character again throughout the rest of the novel. And then at the end, this character comes back into play, and it doesn't really seem plausible. I guess this kind of piggybacks off of the complaint I had earlier, but the ending seemed a little bit odd to me. All the rest of the plot twists throughout the novel seemed really warranted, like it seemed like they were earned and you just genuinely did not see them coming, but at least you were given a chance to see it coming. And with this twist at the very, very tail end of the novel, it just didn't seem genuine. It didn't seem like it really gave anyone a chance to see it coming or predict it, but it wasn't like horrible. I went along with it, but it wasn't my favorite thing about it. So that is my review for Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Like I said at the beginning, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. If you have read this, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. And if you are interested in seeing an entire vlog where I read this, I will also have that linked either on the screen or down below for you. If you like the video, don't forget to like it. It really helps me out, especially with review videos, because I feel like despite the fact that we are a book community, people don't typically watch review videos. So I'd highly appreciate it if you show me that you like reviews so I can continue to make them. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you next time I post a book video. Bye.